how you can make your longer life, how you can make it more productive. How can you have the same energy levels and same productivity at the age of 70s or 80s as you were having at the age of 30s and 40s? Is that possible?
A lot of us have had the same question. So I met Dr.Sajeev Nair. Who introduced me to the science of biohacking. Dr. Sajeev Nair has studied ancient Indian medicine and found out the secrets of Ayurveda, and he tries to prove them in a scientific way. This unique perspective made me invite him to my show. I'm your host Palak, and you're watching me on the Palak Mehta show, the place to find out about the secret India. Today's guest is known to be venturing into lesser known domains. He's a biohacker, a motivational speaker, a serial entrepreneur, and author of the book Superhuman. His vision is to expand people's ideology on health and wellness. Dr. Sajeev Nair, it's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you, Palak. I think I just want to appreciate you for the good work you are doing right now to bring out the ancient Indian wisdom to the global audience. That's a great job.
Thank you, and you as well. Dr. Nair, tell me something about your journey and the concept of superhuman.
Yeah, interestingly, after I did a master's in analytical chemistry and a master's in management, and after that I was in the corporate for not very long period. I think it was only for about 6 to 7 years. I would rather say that my turning point in life happened in two ways. One was I was involved in a lot of motivational trainings and inspirational talks thanks to the direct selling industry, whereby I got associated with one of the largest direct selling companies in the world, where primarily I had to build a team and I had to motivate and I had to inspire a lot of people. So I used to do that in a good way. The product category which I was dealing was wellness products or other nutritional supplements. I used to sell these nutritional supplements. In fact, we used to sell a lot of these nutrition supplements. But from there what I gained was the knowledge about wellness, that optimum health is possible, that people can prevent lifestyle diseases. This kind of knowledge, this kind of information, those information became turning points in my life.
Right, so you were passionate about wellness.
Till that time I was not at all, but from 2000 onwards, when I came to know that you can take charge of your health, you can take charge of your wellness, that's the time I started becoming very conscious. But my overall perspective was all about nutrition supplements, not more than that. Okay, telling you very frankly. On the other side, as I told you, I've been doing a lot of motivational rallies and inspirational talks. There also, I came across a point where I started realizing that all these kinds of motivation lasts for maybe a week or two. After that, people come back to their normal life. So there also, I thought I wanted to go in depth. I wanted to understand why some people are really successful and why some people always struggle in their life. That made me to learn more about the brain, the functioning of the brain, how the brain operates. And that's an amazing journey, because not many people know much about the brain and how the brain operates. So thanks to my wellness journey on one side, where I got connected with a lot of good doctors who could educate me on neuroscience and various aspects of biochemistry. So I understood that every emotion is nothing but a chemical in a way. Because when you are happy, I can see that it is more of serotonins which are being, that's a neurotransmitter which is actually flowing in your brain. When you are sad, I can see that there is less of serotonin. If somebody is romantic, there is oxytocin. If somebody is under stress, I can see there is norepinephrine flowing through their body. So that means I started making the statement that every emotion is a chemical. It may look a bit or sound a bit scary, but still actually every emotion is being controlled by some or other chemical, which we call it as a neurochemical, which creates some biochemical reactions in your body. That's why when you are happy, you are excited, your body works very well. When you are sad, you feel like you don't want to do anything in your life. So if someone has got a challenge with this kind of neurochemicals, how much ever external factors you put in, there may not be any kind of change or transformation or permanent or sustainable effect on that person.
Dr. Nair, do you believe that India has had a lot of secrets related to health which have been unexplored?
I think if any place in the world has got those kind of secrets, I think it is India. Because I still remember in 1974 there is a book which was published by John Naisbitt, who is being considered as the modern world's economist. He was talking about what's going to happen in 2020s, in which he said India or China will emerge as the superpowers in the world, or rather the power will shift from west to east, which we are seeing right now at this point of time. He said India has got a better chance because of three reasons. One is the geographical terrain, because the India is extended into the sea. Okay, we have an uninterrupted sea, which is becoming a big advantage right now at this point of time. Second, he said the English language in India, people talk English, because in China has been investing billions and billions of dollars every year to educate people on English. Third, what he found was that cultural heritage and the mysteries which is there in India. So, which he says that the only other country which can boast of about this is Greece. Other than Greece or India, nobody else can talk about the kind of cultural heritage what we can talk about. So there are lots of secrets, I would rather say. Just imagine about the 5,000-year-old wellness wisdom what we have, which is called Ayurveda. When we talk about wellness right now, the entire world, I would rather say, is that talking about wellness, and whenever they talk about wellness, all the Western concepts of wellness, what is coming in our mind, which is nutrition supplements or having some form of, nowadays some gadgets, wearable technology. But I think we in India, we were having this kind of wellness wisdom right for the last 5,000 years, and still to be explored. The more I learn about it, the more I am getting excited about it. So I think there are lots of secrets in this country, and there is no other place in the world other than India where you have to explore so much of secrets.
So you've been studying the science of Ayurveda for quite some time. What are the key challenges that you faced during your research?
Since 2010, I have been associated with, as I told you, for the last 2 decades, I'm associated with the field of wellness. But it was last 10 years I got so passionate about Ayurveda. Because when I was selling nutrition supplements, that too manufactured by American companies, there used to be some of my friends who used to work in Ayurveda. They used to say that, Sajeev, you are doing injustice to this country, because we have got all this wisdom out here in this country, and then why you are bringing those stuff from America? That made me to start learning about Ayurveda. I'm not talking about the theoretical knowledge, I'm talking about practical knowledge. I started meeting with Ayurveda acharyas, and I tried to understand. And I also try to understand why this 5,000-year-old wellness wisdom is not that much spread all around the world. India should have already become the wellness center for the world. Then I realized that what Western world is talking about is Ayurveda is not scientific. There is no scientific validation. There are no clinical studies. There are no measured doses, like in the sense that if you buy a vitamin C 1000 mg, that is vitamin C 1000 mg. Maybe you may get better vitamin in citrus fruits and amla, but it is not measured. You cannot say that it's 1000 mg. So that's where I found that we are lacking a bit, or rather, when you look at from the Western world, from their perspective, we are not scientific, or rather Ayurveda is not scientific. That's where I started working with few researchers who have got, or Ayurveda doctors who have got a research mindset. And interestingly, I realized that it is not the same. It is not that it's not scientific. It's not that there is no evidence. It is not that we don't have clinical evidences. We have. We haven't done that much of recording. That's right. So I will just give you one example what kind of a research we did. From that you will understand that we can do many things. Since 2014-15 in Western world, especially in America, they were talking about longevity and reversing the aging. They were talking about a molecule called nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide. That means NAD. It's called NAD. This is a molecule which is there in human cells or other cells of any living being, living organisms. And this particular cell is responsible, or rather this particular molecule is responsible for the communication and functions within the cell. So when there is a drop in NAD levels, the cellular communication and cellular functions drop. That is what we call it as aging. One way of looking at it. Another way of looking at it is, in your cell, I'm not making it too scientific, I'm making it simple, but still in the cells you have got chromosomes. We all know that, you know, we got about 23 chromosomes from dad and 23 chromosomes from mom, and then the cell started. That was the first cell called zygote, and the zygote started duplicating or multiplying, and that's how you have the 60 trillion cells which is there in your body at this point of time. And all cells are the same, all cells carry the same kind of chromosomes. And if you look at the chromosome, any picture, any image you take from Google, and you can see that there is a cap at the end of the chromosomes, you know, at the tip of the chromosomes. These are called telomeres. Telomeres. So telomeres, what they do is that when the cells multiply, the chromosomes also multiply. The only challenge is when chromosomes multiply, you need to protect the DNA not to get damaged, because if there is a DNA damage, that can lead to severe, serious health challenges. So this cap is the one which holds the chromosomes intact when it multiplies. So it takes the load of multiplication or division. But how much ever it tries, there will be some damage on the telomeres, and it gets shortened every time the cell divides. So generally we say that a cell divides 50 to 60 times. When it completes about 50 to 60 times of division, the telomeres become short enough that it cannot further hold it. Then it stops the division. That process is called senescence, and the cell becomes death. We call it as a dead cell or senescent cells. Now, these dead cells create a lot of problems for us if it is not removed properly. That is why we need detoxification, upavasa, because if you are doing upavasa, if you are doing fasting, that's a time these dead cells are being used as fuel by the body. No, it just keeps on going around the body. They are not dead cells. Actually, they are zombie cells. They are kind of useless guys who doesn't do any job, but at the same time they emit something called cytokines, which is actually creating a lot of inflammations inside your body. So that is why the Indian wellness wisdom 5,000 years back started talking about upavasa. Right now from Western world we talk about intermittent fasting. Okay, so why upavasa? It is not for reducing weight. People think that it's all part of your weight reduction, bro. This is essential for human beings. At least once in a week, if you can take, at least give your body a gap of at least 16 hours of no carbohydrate, no fat, no protein intake. That's the time this kind of processes will be enacted. Anyway, now coming back to the telomeres, in 2012, I believe, the Nobel Prize was awarded for this finding that the shortening of the telomeres is one of the reasons for aging. That means people who have got a faster speed, or the shortening, if it becomes speedier, you become aged faster. And almost all the diseases what we talk about, whether it is diabetes or Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, cardiovascular disease, you can connect all that to aging, straight away to aging. So that means a disease which could have happened in your life maybe at the age of 60 can happen at the age of 40 if your telomere shortening is happening at a faster pace. That is where the Western world found out many medicines and I would rather say the modern types of treatments. When I was talking to my Ayurveda experts, I said that we have been talking about Rasayana Chikitsa, we have been talking about Kaya Kalpa. There must be something which is connected to this. And we started a research 2 years back. And interestingly, we formulated a particular combination of a few supercritical extracts of few Ayurvedic herbs. And on a lab level, we found that the shortening of the telomeres can be slowed down. So right now we have applied for a patent for that, and which I'm sure that in the next 6 months we'll be able to clear that patent also. So that means it is not that Ayurveda cannot be scientified. We need to really go deeper into this subject. There is everything, just like what you were talking about, the secret. There are, I would rather say that billions of secrets, even just within Ayurveda. Only thing is that there need to be a lot of entrepreneurs who should come up, should invest, and who should, look at it from not just from a commercial perspective, with a perspective of, making India proud. And because nobody else in the world has got so much of wellness wisdom as we have.
Congratulations. Is this process related to Ayurveda?
Absolutely. It's inspired by Ayurveda because we have been hearing this Kaya Kalpa and Rasayana Chikitsa for years together. I think every Indian must have heard about Rasayana Chikitsa, which is primarily anti-aging, the most proven anti-aging process. I'm not trying to strike a balance saying that what we do is similar to Rasayana Chikitsa, because Rasayana Chikitsa is a very, very complex process. We just got inspired because we found that there are some phytochemicals which are working, which is making people reverse their aging. So why not we find out that phytochemicals and combine them? So yes, of course, it is inspired by Ayurveda, supported by scientific research.
I call him the guru of biohacking because no one else has explained it as well as he has. In the next segment, you'll find out.
Biohacking, when we hear that word, we feel like it's something connected to technology, most advanced, and all those kinds of stuff. This is simply hacking your biology. Or rather, I go one step ahead and say hacking your own physiology and psychology. When I say hacking means taking charge. Now, hacking starts with what? When you talk about hacking, generally hacking is a word which is widely used in the technology parlance. So there the hacking starts with a code. You just need to get one simple code to hack an entire system. You know that. So you just need a simple code. In the human system also, if you understand the code, that is where you can start the hacking process. We have got two systems, I would rather say, generally, when we look at it, the way we do biohacking, we look at two systems. One is the genetic systems, and second is the metabolic systems. Genetic system is something which you carry from your previous generations. All the kinds of diseases which is there, which is already being coded in your genes. All the information, every bit of information is coded in your gene, by the way. The way you look, the way you talk, the way you walk, these are all being coded information. What is your color tone, skin tone, what's your skin tone, your color of your eyes, structure or character of your hair, every single thing is coded. It's all stored information. The same way all the diseases also getting coded from your ancestors. That's on one side. So if I retrieve your genetic coding, I would be able to know what kind of diseases are in store for you, number one. Number two, more important, is that I would be able to know that what kind of vitamins your genes respond to in the right way, what kind of an exercise really fit you, what kind of nutrition really fit you, what kind of food can actually create negative results, what kind of food can create positive results. All those kinds of different information I can retrieve right now with the use of advanced scientific methodologies. So once I get the genetic information, and metabolic assessment is simple to understand your present health conditions. So when we combine these two information, that is what is in store for you, what is your present condition, we get something called a complete report, which we call it as the genome metabolic report. And using that, we can design a lifestyle modification which is highly personalized.
You mean all the nutritional plans and are based on our doshas, which actually are derived from our genetics, Pitta, Kapha. We can find out what these doshas are by studying our genes.
Palak, the key factor is, as Hippocrates says, somebody's food can be somebody else's poison. So the key factor is personalization. That's why keto diet works for some people. Keto diet actually creates absolutely negative results for some other people. We need to accept that. Why? Because genetically, my makeup and your makeup are different. We both have, even though it may be 0.001% difference, but that's a difference. We need to understand that. That is why we believe in personalization. And as an organization, we have an organization by name V Roots. And this organization, what we are helping people to do is to highly personalize your nutrition plan, highly personalize your fitness plan, personalize your yoga exercises and all those different aspects. We call it as an epigenetic lifestyle modification. So when I talk about biohacking, there are two ways you can look at biohacking. One is simple, day-to-day, whatever you can practice in your life to take charge of your health and wellness, to take charge of your body and mind. Even for that matter, when we talk about mindfulness, meditation like Mohanji practices, the kind of deeper level of meditations and mindfulness, that is also a biohacking technique, by the way. Because mindfulness, people think that mindfulness means just close your eyes and just sit there some place. I believe mindfulness is something where your mind should be totally engaged in what you are doing. I think right now I am mindful because I am totally engaged in this process. So I practice mindfulness when I walk on pebbles. I have got a place in my house where all pebbles are being laid. So every day I walk on the pebble for about 5 minutes. That's a good time for me for mindfulness because I am very mindful about each and every pebble on which I walk. So these are all biohacking techniques. Biohacking doesn't mean, because if you search in the internet, people will get confused about biohacking. They always see some kind of microchips getting inserted in the body and all. That's a Western way of doing it. We have got immense wisdom out here, the Eastern wellness wisdom. We can use that to biohack, to take charge of your biology, to take charge of your psychology and physiology. That's what it is.
A lot of things, a lot of intuitive powers can actually be developed if we tap into this biohacking. I remember back in the day when my mobile ringtone was not working, and I would just intuitively know when the phone would ring before it would, I would hear the bell. And that shows that, if you just trust our abilities, we can actually practice this thing called biohacking.
Yeah, I think that is exactly what I said as mindfulness, because you have been really focusing on something, and then this is something like, when you think about somebody and you get a call from that person. So we can say telepathy or whatever it is, but ultimately what's happening out here? We all know that thoughts are something which is happening in our brain, or which is actually getting traversed through our brain all the time. And thoughts, what are the thoughts? Thoughts are nothing but different frequencies, or we can call it as energy, and energy has got a frequency. If some people don't even accept this fact, but you have to accept some of the fundamentals of physics, where Einstein says that every single thing, tangible, intangible, existing in the universe is one form or another form of energy. So solid, liquid, gaseous, sound, light, thoughts, spirit. So thoughts are also one form of energy, and energy means frequency. So when I am thinking about something, it has got a frequency. Now there is a theory of resonance. So any form of frequency can resonate with the same levels of frequencies in the world. So when I am thinking about something, That's an energy which has got a frequency. All the subjects and the objects in the universe which has got a similar frequency will be resonating. So if you're mindful about it, you can receive those signals. But this is happening with everybody, but not many people are mindful because they are lost in some or other thoughts. They are not mindful. So even people I know that who meditate, they don't get any result because they meditate for the sake of meditating. They think that keep the eyes closed and sitting there for 15 minutes is meditation. But actually, I don't think that's the right way. You have to understand that there's a process, which is a scientific process which you are executing to your brain and to your cells. So that is what happens even when you have taken a decision that I will come to know whenever there is a call coming in my mobile, and it's such a powerful instrument you have inside your skull, which has got the amazing power of bringing any level of information from anywhere in the world.
Please explain the superhuman concept and the thought process behind the re-engineering program.
I started learning about neuroscience and I formulated a concept called thought process re-engineering, TPR, which is based on some fundamental theories of neuroscience. And after that, this was actually presented as a paper in International Conference for Neuroscience in Malaysia in 2017 and well appreciated. And that one side I am actually even now continually doing the thought process re-engineering programs, which are retreats and workshops. Even I have got an online format which is called onlinetpr.com, whereby people can attend this program online. On the other side, I continued my wellness journey, whereby the entire concept of wellness started changing because 2015-16 was the time when the world started talking about longevity, lifespan rather than lifespan, health span. People are living long anyway. So how you can make your longer life, how you can make it more productive, how can you have the same energy levels and same productivity at the age of 70s or 80s as you were having in the age of 30s and 40s. Is that possible? Some people may say these are all kind of crazy thinking, but scientists have proven that aging can be considered as a disease. So when you consider it as a disease, it is curable. That means you can reverse or you can at least slow down the process of aging. So this has taken me to a different level of wellness knowledge or wellness exploration, which has led me into the superhuman concept, which you just said. So that's the overall journey all about.
Fantastic. It's great to see that you're very, very process oriented. What advice would you like to give other people in the wellness and nutrition field, especially in India? What advice would you like to give to them?
I would rather say whenever I talk about science and logic, some people even don't like it because some people say that there are things which are beyond science. So why you are becoming too much scientific and why you talk about the logical part of it? So my answer is, if you're educated, you have a problem. If you're educated, you have trained your conscious part of the brain, which is called neocortex. We generally, whenever we see a picture of a brain, whatever we see is nothing but the neocortex, which is the major chunk of the brain. Now, interestingly, once entire education system, whatever we educate, whatever master's course or whatever we undergo, every single thing is targeted towards your neocortex. There are two other parts of the brain. One is the limbic portion of the brain and the reptilian portion of the brain. Limbic portion means the emotional part of the brain. No university is training that part. And reptilian part is something like the fight or flight brain, which is for the survival, your own survival. So nobody can train on that part. The entire training is on the conscious or the logical brain. Now, unless and until you are not logically convinced, you won't be emotionally driven. That is why I always seek the support of science and evidence. It is not that we need to know the science behind everything. So if you go through my the book which is getting released right now, the Making of a Superhuman, you must see a lot of science, but made it simple so that people can understand, common man can understand it. Why I use all those scientific proofs? I have referred around 1,000 plus research papers for preparing this book. My main challenge was to bring those scientific aspects to a common man's language so that people can understand it. Why I take that much of effort is primarily because the moment you see that evidence, you see that science, you are convinced, then you will execute it. That's simple as that.
There are so many beautiful nuggets of wisdom to choose from your book. One of my favorite was, you wrote that we should all be able to restart our life in a way that by the age that we are 40 or 50, we have more energy. We can focus our drive and enthusiasm, so we can do our best for ourselves and the society. This really stuck with me.
Interestingly, I never started this project to write a book. Or rather, some people generally do a project as writing a book. I never did that. When I was nearing my 50, that was the time I started thinking. In 30s and 40s, I've done a lot of things. I've been very energetic. And even now I'm very energetic. But still, how can I maintain the same energy and same passion and same excitement even during the next 20, 30, 40 years? Is there a way? That's what I have been searching for. That is where I started my research on the subject of longevity. And interestingly, what I realized was that I have been meeting so many people, and I always find that post 50, people started becoming less productive, low energy levels, and their creativity is lost, memory is poor, and they find that their body is not reaching where their mind wants to reach. So I said, this is quite unfortunate, because till the age of 25, you have been investing, or the government has been investing on you to educate you, and you got educated. So your education got completed maybe at 25 or 26 or 23, whatever. And after that, you got into a job, or maybe you must have got into a self-employment or whatever. And you must have tried so many things. I'm sure that right from my corporate life, when I started my corporate journey, I tried this job, that job, then I moved to another industry, tried that, then I started a business of my own. So I've been doing a lot of trial and errors. And I've been talking to many people. Almost everyone says that it requires another 20 to 25 years to really become an expert in one particular field. So that means to excel in a particular field, you need another 20 to 25 years. So that means by the time you have touched 50, you know that which area you can become an expert in, which is the area in which you can actually show your excellence. In fact, that is the time when you have to start contributing. This is the time, whatever you have learned and whatever you have experienced from this time onwards, you have to give back to the system. Yes, of course, you can make your earnings, but that is where you start contributing. And just imagine at that age, if you got some kind of metabolic disorder like diabetes or Alzheimer's, or maybe some disease or cardiovascular disease which pulls you down, reduces your energy, performance levels are gone, your creativity is affected, your memory is poor. How unfortunate. It is 50 years of hard work being wasted, not just for you. In fact, if you look at it, it's a big loss for the nation. That is where I started thinking that people should be highly productive from the age of 50 till at least 75. They should be able to contribute the best. There are examples right in front of us, but they are very few in numbers. So how can we increase this number? And you cannot make those changes at the age of 50 to make that significant difference in your life. You need to start making the changes by the age of 30s, in 30s or 40s, to get that desired result from 50 onwards, or rather even before that, maybe 20s and 25s. That is the purpose of getting into that research mode. And when I started researching, I started interacting with a lot of experts who are working in the field of longevity, especially in the US. many researchers and a lot of experts from the Ayurveda space and the yoga space, I got a lot of information. Then I was wondering how I can translate this information and make people aware about this, because I was excited. I was too much excited at that point of time. Even now I'm excited about this. I said I wanted to talk to the world. I wanted to tell people that, hey man, at the age of 70s and 80s, it is possible to maintain the same energy levels and same excitement as you were having in your 30s. Because there is a school of thought by a group of researchers which states that aging should be treated as a disease and hence can be cured. That means it can be reversed or at least slowed down. There is a book which is published and which has been in news. The title of the book is Death of Death. And this is written by two famous geneticists, Jos Codiaro and David Wood. And what they are making a statement in the book is that with scientific evidence that by 2045, death will be optional. The reason is almost all the lifestyle diseases what we are talking about, whether it is diabetes or cardiovascular, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, cancer, they are going to disappear in the next 10 years. Because our medical science is making such a big advancement, number one. Genetic science is making a massive advancement. Now, gene editing or gene therapy is already being done. It is not approved by FDA or any of the governments, but there are genetic scientists who are ready to edit your gene. When I am saying edit your gene means most of these diseases, if you look at it, there must be some genetic mutation or genetic variations. So if you can edit that mutation, you are out of that disease. Just imagine. So you must have heard this news that designer babies can be created, or one or two designer babies are already being created. That means at the embryonic level they made some editing in the gene, and you can choose what kind of the color, how the baby's retina should be, whether it should be blue colored or brown colored, whether the hair should be brown colored. So designer babies can be created. They are waiting for the FDA approval. So this is going to be a different world.
Well, what is your spiritual perspective of this? What about the soul? What is your take on this?
All thing, if you look at it, the entire thing, if you look at it, it's all one quantum soup. So I see you only because my eyes, which I call it as a visual sensory apparatus, so which can only register certain frequencies. So I can only see you in that particular shape, with that kind of borderline. I don't believe that means that you are ending there. Suppose if I take a particle accelerator is a highly advanced apparatus which is which is actually being used in the laboratories to see the subatomic particles, like the God's particles, they call it as the subatomic particles. So if I use a particle accelerator and look at your body, look at you, which goes beyond atoms, I can go beyond your atoms and I can only see a trace. And if I go with the trace, I can see that my particle accelerator is going outside your body. The trace continues. That means you are not stopping there. It is continuum. Some portion of it is vibrating in a particular frequency which my sensory apparatus, visual sensory apparatus can register. That's it. So that way, if you look at it, the entire universe is one quantum soup. And we are little creatures with very limited frequency adaptations. For instance, when you are listening to it, or the audience who are listening to it, the viewers who are listening to it, now what are you listening to? You are listening to my voice and maybe some other noise which is happening around you. But is that all what is there around you? Suppose if you take an FM radio and tune 91.9, you can listen to a song. 93.5, another song. Maybe 94.6, another song. So all those waves are there around you, but you cannot listen to it. You cannot hear it because you have such a limited capability of registration. So what is happening around you? Generally people say that when people die, dogs create a particular noise, a kind of very annoying noise. So some people say that dogs are able to watch the salt departing from the body. And they say, no, these are all kind of false science, pseudoscience. How can you say that's a pseudoscience? You can actually confirm that only if you have lived as a dog. We have no idea. Maybe that they have a sensory apparatus, their eyes may be able to register that particular frequency. Like chameleon, do you know that chameleon can see every single thing as two? Because chameleon has got two optical centers. We have two eyes, but we have only one optical center. But chameleon is one animal which has got two optical center. So if you show one pen in front of chameleon will say two. You will say one. Chameleon will say two. An argument can go on. What is truth? Who knows? It's a very, very relative world we are living in. That is why I say that there is nothing called a real world. It's a perceptual world. Whatever I experience and whatever you experience are two different worlds.
Is that the power that masters and enlightened beings tap into? Or beings beyond the mind?
Absolutely. There is science behind it, Palak. If you look at it, there was a Nobel Prize laureate by name Erwin Laszlo. Erwin Laszlo published a paper on something called 0 point field. 0 point field, what he is talking about 0 point field as, these guys have been doing a lot of research on what is a matter, So they were looking at molecule, then Max Planck came and said, no, beyond molecule there is something called atom. And interestingly, if you look at their explanation of atom, Max Planck, after receiving the Nobel Prize, I still remember some of the words what he used there. He said, as a man who devoted his entire life to find out the basic most thing about matter, my finding is that there is no matter. What I could found was that some particles which are revolving around one another like a solar system. So what he's talking about is a nucleus and the electrons revolving around it. That's called atom. Now this guy, Erwin Laszlo, said, okay, what is behind this? So then there is another scientist who came up with this Heisenberg's uncertainty principle, which is about the subatomic particles. So Erwin Laszlo was looking at it and he said, there is a nucleus and the electrons are revolving around it. So what is between this? What is between this nucleus and the electrons? There must be something. We can say emptiness. Okay? We don't know. Now, do you know what is the speed at which the electrons revolve? It is called attoseconds. They actually register it in attoseconds. Generally, it is 1 divided by 10 raised to 13 is the speed. 1 divided by 10 raised to 13, 1 second divided by 10 raised to 13, by the way. 1 second, that is the speed at which the electrons are revolving. Like if you look at it, if you look at a fan, when it is still you can see 3 leaves. But when it rotates, it looks like a disc. And if it is rotating at the higher speed, you can't see anything, right? So the same way, when the electrons are rotating at that speed, that is why we are seeing an object. Otherwise, there is no object. Now, Erwin Laszlo said one thing. He said that, okay, let's have a camera and let's have a camera and take one clip with a shutter speed of 10 to the power of 13. 1 divided by 10 to the power of 13. That means everything is freezed. The entire universe is freezed. Then you will only see what? Here a dot, here a dot, here a dot. And the rest everything is emptiness. 99.99% of the universe is nothing but emptiness. We call it as Maya. When the Eastern wisdom said it's all Maya, they were laughing at us. Now after doing so much of scientific research, now these guys have come up, the quantum scientists came up and said, oh, there is nothing. That nothingness is not emptiness. What they found was that an interesting thing. They found that 1 cubic centimeter of that emptiness, that emptiness contains 10,000 billion times more force than the entire energy which is available right now in the universe, in the physical format. So that means one cubic centimeter. Where is this space? What I am talking about? This space is wherever you see atoms. This space is there. So hope you understand that. So that means everywhere this force is there. 1 cubic centimeter of this empty space, if I take, that contains a force which is equivalent to 10,000 billion times more force or more energy than the entire energy which is available in the physical format in this universe at this point of time. Now the question comes, what is this force then? This force is nothing but information. What information? Information about possibilities. Anything and everything which exists today in this universe were possibilities at one point of time. Anything and everything which is going to happen tomorrow remains as a possibility at this point of time. Now, where is this possibility? Where is this? This is omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient. Your body also is made of atoms. That means it is there inside you. You don't have to look around. Aham Brahmasmi. Omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient. What we are talking about isn't this same, because that is what Stephen Hawking lastly said. Maybe this may be the same thing as what you guys talk about as God. They don't accept it. He's an atheist. So it's all there in the ancient wisdom, but some or other we are trying to prove it through science so that people get more convinced about it. And they are scientifically convinced about. So when you are meditating, when you are thinking about, we always say that whatever you think happens in your life. Why? Because your thoughts and the things are the same.
I wanted to ask you a question. Now, I'm an ethical vegan who believes in a cruelty-free, compassionate lifestyle, and I feel that animals should not be tortured and commodified. So, if I choose a vegan diet, I feel that I can easily get all my nutrients, macro and micro, from plants and vegetables, so plant sources. So, what do you think?
When we talk about longevity, as I am a proponent of longevity, when we talk about longevity, always there is a theory which works on longevity. There are few genes which are responsible for longevity in your entire body. There are few genes. These genes are called SIRT, S-I-R-T genes. S-I-R-T, SIRT genes. So there are 7 types of genes. They produce a protein called sirtuins, so which are responsible for healthier longevity. All right. So interestingly, these genes always work either on growth or on repair. Okay. If it is only on growth, they are just working on growth, the repair will be affected. If they are working on repair, the growth will be slightly affected. Now, interestingly, when you are taking branched chain amino acids in excess, which is generally with the non-vegetarian food or the whey proteins and all those stuff, you are getting a lot of BCAAs. It enhances your growth, but in the process, it has got a negative impact on the repair work, DNA repair, cellular damages and all those stuff, which can lead to diseases.
Great. What is your vision on India, and how do you feel that the doctors and nutritionists today should approach the health and wellness industry?
Number one is the medical industry right now, the healthcare industry, what we call it as a healthcare industry, which is actually dealing with sickness right now at this point of time. That's why Paul Zane Pilzer, the well-known economist, he said that, healthcare is a misnomer. You have to change that as a sickness industry. So whatever, it's a great way of expression. But I think, I strongly believe that the doctors and people in the the conventional medical practice, they should study about nutrition. They should give more focus on nutrition. They should give more focus on preventive medicine and preventive health, because we come across situations where some of our clients go with a genetic report which says that, doctor, I have a possibility of higher risk for this disease, and doctor says that, what can I do about it? When you get one of those, come to me. So when you get a cancer, come to me means what is so there should be a preventive approach. The overall approach should be there from the medical fraternity. That's what I think is the need of the hour. Number two is that people, as consumers, common men, should understand that you are responsible for your health, not your doctor. You have to take charge of your health. The key to good health is in your hand. And if you have goofed up, doctors can only do the repair work. They may not be able to bring you back to the normal life. So we are responsible for our health. So better hack your own biology and better understand. If you want to hack anything, you need to understand and learn about it first. Understand how your cells are functioning. Understand how your digestive system is functioning. Be a good observer. Some people say that permanently I have all the time, I have got one or other problem with my gastric and digestive system. Observe, you may be able to figure out why it's happening. Maybe because of the kind of food you eat. Maybe the timing you are actually, whenever you are eating, you would look at the timing when you are having this problem. So you take charge of your health by yourself. And the most important thing is that when it comes to nutritional supplements or medicine, always I would rather say more of it about nutrition supplement, because nowadays the trend is catching up and everybody thinks that, let's take all the vitamins, let's take all the minerals. Not that way. It's all personalized. So you need to identify what kind of vitamins you are deficient of, what kind of vitamins you are in surplus, what kind of minerals you are in deficient of. We have come across people who have genetically, because generally we always hear that there is vitamin D deficiency all around. But we have seen people who have genetically got surplus vitamin D. And, if they go with the normal, concept of adding a lot of vitamin D supplementation, that can lead to major problems like sarcoidosis kind of diseases, which are very, very dangerous diseases. So, unless and until you don't know how your makeup is, what is your genetic profile, what is your metabolic profile, taking charge of your health also will be a challenge. So it is very important to know your body, know your cells, know your own genetic and metabolic profile. That's very, very important. I think in India, if you look at it right now, our average age is only 30. That's good. We are a young country. We are a youthful country. But the last national population survey says that by 2045, we will have more people above the age of 60 than the number of people who are below the age of 30. That means by 2045, India will be an aged country. That point of time, imagine if the people above the age of 60, if they are not productive, if they are not energetic, if they are not creative, you will be having a losing nation. So I think as a national priority, everybody should be looking at longevity as a major objective. Right now, when you are in your 30s and your 40s, that's a time you need to really do the right kind of steps so that your 60s, 70s and 80s become highly productive, energetic and creative. That's I think when we are on a growth path and we are sure that India is going to be the number one country in the world, I think this is one way to tap that, because if you look at countries like Japan, where the average life expectancy right now is more than 80, it's an aged population. That's why that country is not performing that level, at this point of time as they were performing maybe 30 years back. It's a very aged population. You go to Singapore, in hotel, you can see in restaurants, the waiters and waitresses, they are all above the age of maybe 70. So it's an aged population. So in India, if we can take charge right now and make sure that our 60 plus people also are youthful, then we are having a highly youthful and highly productive country in future.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nair, for taking out the time today. I'm sharing the link of your book, Superhuman, below. Those of you who have not read it yet, please check it out. It's fantastic and you won't stop reading it.
All right, Palak, thank you so much.
I hope you liked this episode, and if you did, do subscribe to my channel, stay in touch. I put out videos on the secret of India every week. I'm Palak Mehta, and I'll see you again soon.